Good evening. We are going to start the second half of Pachakcha Night, Volume 35, Global Cities Week. Again, we are Providence, the city that has a Pachakcha every month. Our next presenter is one Bruce Kaplan, and he is the son of the smallest state in the Union, which I believe is this very state, and he's always had a soft spot for the underdog. So it was that when the only library in the smallest city in the smallest state in the Union got closed by the soon-to-be bankrupt city, his heart took him along for the ride, working with a charming patchwork, quite quilt-like-minded volunteers to help the century-old institution back on its feet. Along the way, his role in the library's September fundraiser has morphed into a membership on its board, and his focus has shifted from the library's present to its future, as the city continues to pour its love and affection into the little library that could. So here's another city that's close to Providence, Central Falls, and Bruce Kaplan talking about their library.
So, welcome to Central Falls, the city of dreams. Another city that the Rhode Island State Legislature has been a jerk to. This 100 years ago was the third richest city in the world. I mean, in the country, in the state. We'll dial it back. Those are dreams. But in the heart of the city is the Adams Memorial Library. It was founded just over 100 years ago by an industrialist who wanted to give back. He didn't have any kids, so he put it into a trust that would create a library to educate the working class people of Central Falls. A city that started off as an ethnic neighborhood of Lincoln and got pushed into its own city. They kind of zoned it into a small ethnic enclave, and so it's been a melting pot for over a century now. This here is Sullivan Ballou. The library houses a love letter that made it to Ken Burns' Civil War documentary, and it's a love letter to his wife, fatalistic, saying he was going to die, and 3 days later after he wrote it, he was indeed dead. But a crazy confluence of events, the planets aligned weirdly on Smith Hill when the legislature did decide to be a jerk to Central Falls and cut its funding severely. That in turn put the city into bankruptcy, and in turn they closed the library. They closed a community center, a library, a school, pretty soon the post office. As we deindustrialize in this country, Central Falls is the face of a post-industrial city that has pension issues, demographic changes, a whole bunch of challenges. But the good thing is Rhode Island is a small state, and everybody knows someone who knows someone who has something to do with Central Falls. And the people came together in the city, in the state, across the country to help the library. I live in Pawtucket, and my heart went out to a city. If we can't save a library in the smallest city in the smallest state of the country, what the hell good are we, you know? So the library was closed. A month later, these two cats, Gerald Adams and Tom Shanahan, reopened the library with the help of a bunch of volunteers. So that's the monadic of good old American can-do volunteerism. A month later, we had a fundraiser, and we had Big Nazo, we had 1031 Productions, we had a bunch of artists get together, and a reporter asked me how much we wanted to raise, and off the top of my head I said $40,000 tonight, $100,000 within 12 months, and that was just the bear talking. But that night we did raise $40,000, and 2.5 months later we raised $100,000. Cheers to all of you. We got into the New York Times, which in turn got Alec Baldwin to kick over. Yeah, let's hear it for Alec Baldwin. All right, 30 rocks indeed. We get 10,000 from AB. We got 10,000 from a local business called Interpac. We got money from all over the country. $10, $20 from local citizens. People in Iowa and stuff. We got we set up a new board of 7 people to take control of the operations, take over from the volunteers. We have the superintendent of schools. We did not have time for a group photo. This is me right here. So we put together a whole bunch of technological people, political people, people from the city, from the schools on this board to try and integrate the library into the life of the community. We've since done a clothing drive. We've done a whole bunch of small things, but what we want to do is create the library of the future, which is kind of a cliche in the library world, but what we want to do is, well, what we've done actually is we had a pretty cheesy, static website that we're turning into a resource for economic development, cultural literacy, digital literacy. We really want this to be the heart of the community in a really heartfelt way. Let's see where the next slide's going. So what we're doing is we're looking for a library director. Okay, anyone looking for a job? Got to be forward-thinking, ability to use technology to bring out the best in the community. We want to crowdsource. We really want to take technology and its promise and turn it into something valuable for a city that otherwise gets the shaft every time. So we want to educate people. The citizens of Central Falls are pretty poor, pretty, they get the short end of the stick. So we want to teach them about the Khan Academy. We want to teach them about all the resources that help them bring them to the wider world. We want to, someday, this is the City of Dreams, so we'd like to create a Fab Lab. We'd like to create another industrial revolution for the most underfunded people in the state. So we want to teach them how to make things on their own, tangible skills that are emblematic of the Industrial Revolution that actually started in Central Falls. We had a chocolate mill 3 years before Slater Mill in Pawtucket. No offense, Pawtucket Foundation guy. But anyway, we want to do urban agriculture. We are not afraid to dream big. We've got a little carriage house in back that'd be a nice incubator of agriculture and teaching people good food and how to control their food source. What we'd like to do is teach them computer skills. We'd like to have an after-school art program where we let kids Skype back home to Colombia, Puerto Rico, wherever their families are, and create a cultural repository, have them create documentaries to learn about what's come before, where they're from, and use it as a learning tool. And so this is the City of Dreams, and we're not afraid to dream big and look forward to creating some world-class opportunities for kids that otherwise do get the short end of the stick. And let's see what that last slide is all about. Booyah! If any of you have any suggestions, want to help, volunteer, know a good library director, give me a shout out at bruce@cflibrary.org. And I thank you very much for listening to this. And
That's Bruce's second pitch-off job. He was at Grants Block last summer. And let's hear it for Central Falls. Come on. Everyone wants to hear it for the end.